Family TV, enriching lives. Regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission. Issues at hand.
A very good morning once again. This is Issues at Hand here on Church of Uganda Family TV. Edrine Mukalazi is my name, and of course this morning we are assessing, of course, the post-elections, the polls, and of course continuing to have an overview of what actually happened and what the way forward should be moving on. Because now with us,
vision, I was going to give up coming because I spent 2.5 hours traveling in here.
2.5 hours?
Yes, traveling in here. And the last part of my journey had to be via border. And for the people who are succinct, who watch this television must have noticed that.
Polls. And nevertheless, we want to have a review of what happened and how the process was according to you in your lens as an observer.
Yes, you're right. The party that I represent, the party that I should be the president of, did not present a candidate. We did not present a candidate simply because, in part, to minor internal issues, but quite clearly, primarily because of the challenges of the judicial processes and systems. Our leadership question is in court and has been in court for 5 years. Prior to that, it was also a matter that continued. I joined in 5 years ago. Before that, had been going on for another 5 years. So basically, the judiciary of the Republic of Uganda has contributed net to the 10 years, certainly 9 years of an impasse in Uganda People's Congress. So that has got to be put in context. But that said, if you link the judiciary then and you link the manner in which you and I, before we came on air, were having conversations about what happened in Masaka and the role of the judiciary, the magistrates court, the high courts, in determining matters of elections where an impasse has occurred within a political organization, an impasse has occurred relative to the Electoral Commission, the final arbiter, courts of law. And courts of law ought therefore to play the strict parental role, disciplined, precise, timely, but also generally impartial. In the absence of that, we end up with anarchy. And in the absence of that, people ask why, the current administration went to the bush 45 years ago, alleging electoral irregularities. But that said, we went through the election processes. I want to tell you that the party that I represent, notwithstanding the fact that we did not have a candidate, we've emerged the third largest political party, after NRM, which is not a party, it's a political organization but rules, followed by NUP, and we've come third. Now, to consider that we have been fought as a political organization and to consider that we are running like a headless chicken, I thought that was generally an impressive performance. But side by side with that, one of our candidates, who is now elected member of parliament, Fred Jalabesu, is the person who defeated the government side chief whip. Interestingly, in that process, when there was a re-election in 18 polling stations, the manner in which things did happen, because we talk about processes, was such that had it not been really for the vigilance of all the leaders of Uganda People's Congress, all the leaders, including my friend Jim McKenna, I possibly would not have got it. But it was impressive that when leaders and party members come and focus, and there is peace, notwithstanding the fact that there was a massive military deployment the evening before, which was basically intimidatory. I was, in the neighborhood, and I raised alarm with many other people about this thing, but granted, the processes went on. Away then from that, whatever else happened across the country, with the blocking of internet, which surprised me, disappointed me that it happened not only a day before when people were anticipating it, although it was still unnecessary, but went much longer, and therefore meant that Ugandans, instead of going to the polls to enjoy the determination of who their electoral leaders are, Ugandans ended up being like in prison or at war. But regardless, after the declaration of results, the shocking things that came out of videos, video clips of ballot stuffing, I was very disappointed that, including in my own Padola in Tororo, in fact, my parliamentary constituency, there are cases, and there's a video going round at a particular primary school where people are basically saying, put in that box, that one for president, where's the women MP, something like that. And it's actually not only shambolic, but shambolic and shameful. To conclude, therefore, if that is the case, and if Masaka is one of those others, amongst the many other things that happened across the country, then you say that, well, we have a victor with 71%, but no street jubilation. We have a runner-up who is in hiding either voluntarily or otherwise. But even if he were in hiding voluntarily, you would possibly understand him, considering the fact that we know that his home was raided and his wife was assaulted and his home was damaged, and three of his key leaders either missing or in detention, and a critical member of his political organization is being done for treason. So the sum total of that then is that, have we just come out of an election, or have we come out of a war battle? And that's why I want to repeat what I said at the introduction very deliberately, that I was suitably impressed by the leadership provided by the Anglican Archbishop, by reminding Ugandans about winners and losers and electoral processes and leadership, and that elections should be a process in which, when a victor comes, the victor comes with humility and people come together and move on. But I have also seen in my own Tororo, where there is a particular loser that I'll not go into, but this particular individual is being hounded by others. These are people who are not UPC, so really have nothing directly interested with them. And partly because of other people's opinion, some people are celebrating quote because the person lost. I want people to lose fairly. If part of the loss is directly as a result, however unpopular you are, however incompetent you are, and you've gone through a process, I want justice, I want fairness. That's what Uganda People's Congress is. That is what we founded this country for in 1952. That is why we transferred the Uganda People's Congress. We transferred the national motto, for God and my country. We transferred it from my Busoga College and gave it to the Republic of Uganda. We did so because we wanted fairness, justice, and equity.
Now, talking about this, of course, the president on several occasions has referred to the past governments, including the government of UPC under the leadership of the late Milton Obote, as undemocratic. And so when we try to look way back in the days of UPC, while UPC was in leadership of this country, and the leadership today, in terms of democracy, how is the score?
That's interesting. Not only does NRA score 0, and by that I repeat, the last elections, I told an international media network recently that these elections have completely cleansed and regenerated Uganda People's Congress. And that's why I don't know anybody within reason who understands and hears me and they don't make a phone call to me to join Uganda People's Congress going forward. Quite honestly. But I'm not here for partisan campaign. But absolutely, I say that Uganda People's Congress has been completely exonerated by 40 years of NRA. Now, when you talk comparison, not only should the NRA get 0, but they should get 0 and go to prison.
Why?
One, you said democracy. There is nothing that you saw that happened internally in NRA, including leading to their primaries and SEC, that would compare with what happened in UPC at the time. Granted, we have current issues internally, and some of it are basically things which are being sweetened by NRA. But nothing happened like that. We are completely net democratic political party and organization. Number two, the first government that we led was through an election process in which we were not participants. It was an election post-independence. UPC did not organize those elections. We won it. 1980 general elections, we did not participate in the preparations for this election, although we fought. We led the defeat of Idi Amin. We did, but the Electoral Commission was independent. A recent clip that shows Paul Mwanga, who was then the head of the military commission, confirms, there's a clip doing the rounds, that actually the commissioners were agreed upon by all participating political parties, namely Uganda People's Congress, the Democratic Party, the Conservative Party, and then Museveni's NRA UPM. So you can't compare. And then three, which is extremely important. 1980 general elections, you're a fourth estate, you're a journalistic house. And if the leaders of this program are watching, let them commission amongst the best journalists to answer you, amongst the best journalists. Talk to me and talk to many others. I want to see one parliamentary constituency out of 126, which they were in 1980, which UPC rigged, because it was a parliamentary system. One single constituency where DP was supposed to win and the UPC rigged. Where NRA's Museveni was supposed to win and the UPC rigged. There's none. It has taken these guys 45 years, 40 years in power, and they've completely failed to show an iota of evidence. So it's a question of democracy. You can't compare. And then next, I gave you a hint. Robert Kyagulanyi is you could say, official leader of the opposition in terms of political numbers. Kyagulanyi is a very sad little boy. Kyagulanyi cannot enjoy and has not enjoyed the privilege Paul Semogere enjoyed with Milton Obote.
Okay.
You notice? Milton Obote was Paul Semogere was the leader of the Democratic Party, which was the official opposition party. But DP was officially also supporting NRM Museveni's rebellion against government in the bush in Luwero. Francis Benje, DP Secretary General, came out and boasted about this. So it's open. The Robert Kitarikos and all these other people, they know it. It happened. The NRA guys were throwing bombs up to near here, Kawempa and Matuga, But DP was officially in parliament. At no time, never, was Paul Semogere, as the official leader of opposition, ever assaulted merely by police on a particular roadblock between 1981 and 85. That's the leader of the opposition in parliament, and that's the leader that is known officially actively supporting rebellion against that government. No member of parliament of the Democratic Party at any time faced an iota of anything that can come. So how and where does anybody want to compare the UPC Obote 2 government? And the Obote 2 government was one which was with the NRA in the bush. So you could say it was, people even call it the more turbulent one, relatively. You can't compare Obote 2 government with the current NRA regime, considering what's happening. And by the way, in any case, even as I was trying to navigate before eventually abandoning my car to go onto a border, you see this military car coming around and people trying to wee. Thankfully, I realized that the guy was going nowhere. And and I said, what nonsense is this? Is this really security? What is it? I repeat on this program, because we're talking democracy, because democracy is also about the state of freedom and feelingness of people and confidence in their nation state. I have told you, and I don't know whether I told this program, Obote 2 government, except for the president and the vice president, I don't know anybody else who had an outrider car. None. The prime minister, on exceptional occasions, had a second vehicle, but no. The prime minister, the speaker of parliament, Speaker Francis Butajira is still alive. Fantastic, decent man. By the way, you guys need to meet some of these UPC leaders who are still alive. These are real men, gentlemen, and women whom we need to make sure that our children and grandchildren look up to. So, no comparison. And finally, amidst all those, if you're talking democracy, we delivered in education, we delivered in health, we delivered in agriculture, we delivered in infrastructure, we delivered in health, we delivered in national security. Uganda under Obote II was completely safe except war-controlled Luwero, in which there was Museveni, backed by DP, backed by Idi Amin's Gaddafi. Okay? And imperialist forces who are basically the Pineti group who are anti-Ugandans. So who's fooling who?
We also know you're talking about partnerships. UPC has a partnership with NRM. I don't know whether an MOU, a working MOU.
No, we don't.
Whether you're yet to renew it.
No, we don't. UPC does not have a partnership with NRA. UPC is not involved with NRA. Jim Akena and his wife Betty have their own dubious deals with Mr. Museveni, and that is fair enough.
Are they not the face of the party?
They control Uganda House, previously with the backing of NRA. I don't know what the situation is at the moment, and that's really all. Currently, and as I said, Jim Akena was declared not president of Uganda People's Congress. You guys in the media are the ones who keep on calling him president. And remember, me, I'm going to heaven. So just review your conscience, honestly, including when you're reporting. So Jimmy is not president of Uganda People's Congress. The president of Uganda People's Congress, the should be president of Uganda. But I don't call myself so because I'm a constitutionalist. So Jimmy's deal with NRA is his deal with NRA, is not UPC's deal with him. In any case, actually, I think even his own cocoon cabinet did not formally resolve, and if they resolve it, that's their deal. And if they had a deal, officially I know there is no deal like that of Norbert Mao. Norbert Mao and NRA, you may agree with Norbert and he's a friend, whatever the case, whatever decision he took, but he has a formal arrangement with NRA. Jimmy doesn't, and one of the reasons I think why they chose not to have a written agreement, I have some information about some of their discussions, was maybe because Jimmy thought he wanted to play UPC members silly, he wanted to play Ugandans silly as they continue eating to push the agenda. No, Milton Obote is looking for in heaven. There is no deal between Uganda People's Congress and NRA. But in any case, a future UPC in which I am leader, a future UPC which is open and we're able to engage constructively leaders, we should be the leaders that create an enabling environment in which there is national discussion across all the political divide. I have told people, and if you're asking as part of the way forward, maybe preempting it, we need to have a national discussion. And I notice again, the Archbishop raised this in that speech that I refer, that this country needs a national dialogue. I have been pushing for national dialogue for a long time. When Jim Akena and I returned home 20 years ago, I told a press conference in Uganda House, the first person to talk about National Truth and Reconciliation Commission in this country. So I generally believe that all political parties need to come round table, including NRA. We have a conversation to build national consensus to find a way of going forward. That must be done in a collegiate way, not in a coercive way, not in one person thinking that the expert people, meaning you join a train, you join some crooked looking very ugly bus, jump on a bus and take us via Kireka, and the bus runs on a train track that UPC built and you fail to maintain. No. Genuinely, if people are interested in this country, we will work together. So I did not have any difficulty having conversations with NRA people, and many guys in NRA are my friends. Many guys in NRA, when we sit and have conversation, we have solid conversation. Some people in NRA are fairly deeply, without prejudice, intelligent, decent men and women who generally are committed to this country. Problem comes when people think they want to own others. But really, some of the leadership in NRA better have some humility and look back to where they came from. They came from some very terrible places. But so for us in UPC, we recognize about this country and this future more than anybody else. But whatever things to do with deals, backroom deals and whatever, no, UPC is not a party to that.
With the current grudges in UPC, if I can use that word, grudges, because we now see, if we can bring it clear, we have two sects We have a group that believes in Jimmy Akena as the president, as the party president. We also have a group that you belong to that says court ruled out that you're not the party president. And now with this, what is the future of UPC? Especially if we look at the possibility of UPC regaining presidency of this country.
We will gain the presidency of this country, and we are the future. And I've been saying this for particularly the last 5 years, at the irritation of some people, including some people in the media. You know, whenever I said we have said, oh, UPC is dead. Oh, UPC is NRA. Which UPC? Akena one or Alabir is what? No. The fact that you saw the resurgence of the party, particularly across the country, but particularly in Lango, where, as I said, in one district where we did not have a member of parliament, we won 3. That is in Amolata. And when the early part of my conversation with some of the leaders there, people had thought that no, let's now play safe. People had started to play safe, meaning self-preservation, until maybe Mr. Museveni determines when is 110 that Bambi, you guys come and you share the national thing, we can leave it for you, kind of stuff. So understand that will not happen. But 2, actually, you can call them sects. They're actually not 4 true sects. They're effectively 4 power centers in the party. Okay. So, unfortunately, for us, we're very objective. We tell you our challenges. Yeah. Jimmy has this group. Walubiri has this group. Interestingly, in Jimmy's group, includes a guy who said that he carried the brown envelope on behalf of Jimmy. That's Dennis Enough. Yeah. So he calls himself also a party president. I was elected, and how I was elected was when Court of Appeal ruled in 2020 that Jimmy wasn't president and asked for fresh elections. Fresh elections took place, which I won. It's just simply that I wasn't declared, and because I'm a constitutionalist and I'm Milton Obote's permanent spokesperson, and I want to show young people good manners. I don't declare myself president because I'm not like one of these guys who go to the bush and declare themselves president or whatever kind of stuff. So I said that, well, unless I'm declared president by the relevant organ of the party or by a competent court, I will not call myself president. So that's why I call myself should be president. So basically there are 4 power centers in the party. We're forward for that. 1, common sense ought to prevail amongst all of us. 2, party elders ought to wake up at bank table and stop hanging on the fence. I know some of the elders who dare not point fingers at particular individuals, which I think is cheeky. That's impunity, and that's and it's encouraging self-entitlement that we criticize of NRA, and I will not accept that. And then 3, that the people in the judiciary, including people who are holding our files, and they're very decent people, review their conscience and release the UPC's position. So the matter in court in front of Justice Joyce Kavuma, decent judge, clearly should determine the future of the party. The matter is clear declaration of Joseph Ochieno as president of the party on the basis of the evidence that are provided. Number 2, permanent injunction against Jim Akena. And number 3, a contempt of court application that we have down there. The determination is up to court to decide which way, because actually contempt of them. So it's a matter for their own conscience how they do so. But we know that there was that, and it was evidence, and we proved it. And if that happens, we go forward. In the event that I'm officially declared leader, I have committed myself to bring everybody else together and making sure that we reconcile, we forgive one another, and then build for the future. The good thing about this building for the future, like we used to say, and we should say in Makerere University, is that the founding values of Uganda People's Congress of 1952, as founded by Mukalazi and others, and built onto our independence government of 1962, are more relevant today than it was in 1952 and 62. I know families of my social status who basically help build a way to poverty. I know people who go home without food. Yesterday I received 2 phone calls. People think maybe Ochieno has money. To be fair, I am likely to have 1,000 shillings in my phone than they are likely to see 1,000 shillings in a whole week. Our medical facilities have died. I want to tell you that as I congratulate Nagongera Girls Primary School, those are our girls, man, from Nagongera boys, Nagongra Girls is a convent school. St. Joseph's, my primary school, is the partner school. Actually, I didn't check my school results. Sorry, St. Joseph. My favorite girls' school, and the head teacher is fantastic, Sister Felicia's. Do you know what? Nagongra Girls got 60 first grades, Division 1. Yeah? Now, that's the best primary school, has been consistent, thanks to, that's why this church, I could not resolve that I don't come to this show. From the phone call I had, and as you know, some of the circumstances we don't want to say on air, and today. No, because I do God. God is He, man. So no. So Sister Letitia has done a fantastic job. Sister Letitia, not the government. They've been consistent. 60 Division 1s in Nagongra of Tororo. That is nearly half.
As in the government supported Sister.
How does the government support? Look, look. How many did Morkiswa Primary School get, which is near Tango Doy School? To give as an example, that's the point I'm trying. What about Kisoko? I think Kisoko got 1 or 2. I think Kisoko got 8 or something. You know what I'm saying? But this is the point. A beam district got 18 Division 1, a whole district. So Nagongra Girls Primary School gets 60. That is more than many other districts. I am telling you the criminal nature of the failure of this regime and the kind of things that people should be looking at mere lit education. I know people, maybe including those who work in this building, who are graduates of high caliber, but they're doing wrong jobs. I know people who are down the road, and I've talked about this on television, people who got top degrees in social work and social administration, and they're counting money and they're being paid 400,000 Uganda shillings under NRA after 40 years. This NRA regime boasts that, economy, my. Do you know what? A recent World Bank report, I don't know the dates, puts Uganda number 8, most terrible in terms of poverty, at 59%. 59% means Uganda, has got, is the 8th worst in terms of poverty index. Then these guys will count to you figures, the economy has doubled, quadrupled, and things like that. Some of these are fudged figures for which people don't know that this very particular regime in 1987 devalued Ugandan shillings by 1,300%. And that currency conversion, none of those monies have been accounted for. I can go on and on. And sadly, we are discussing this and we're not discussing the issues, and maybe we may not have time to discuss the issues that gave the results, because in any case, we are not sure whether the results was the representative. Because if it was about the issues, I don't know how anybody would vote for NRA where they've got 3 graduates, struggling with them over television, and they sold land to take them to school. I don't know how...
The things that are presented by the NRM government that actually the president said is the reason people continue to vote for them, and one of them is peace.
Peace?
Yeah.
Peace.
And security.
Peace and security. Do you know, I don't know which part of Kampala you live, but the other day I was coming from a national television network, and at 6:12, a telephone was snatched off a councillor candidate from Makere University, who had come from a youth program with them at a national television. 6 o'clock in the evening. Is that peace and security? Now, walk down the road at one of the junctions here. You'll see some very terrible, ugly looking. By the way, those vehicles are ugly. These ugly vehicles, the police trucks. And you say, is Kampala at war? Including today. By the way, you guys pull away those cars, man. No, pull away those cars, because those are intimidatory equipments, and as UPC, we find it completely unacceptable. So what peace? What peace where even at a petrol station you have people fully armed and mean looking, and at a supermarket? What peace and security? What peace and security? Now, do you know the lining ups that did the role of soldiers in the recent elections? People filing as if they're in DR Congo, protecting gold. Is that peace? No. What peace? And finally, let me just tell you this.
Okay.
NR has been in power for 20 years. I think it's a total insult to the people of northern Uganda and part of eastern Uganda who spent 20 years in concentration camps to say we credit NR with peace. The children who were born in concentration camps and the children who gave birth from concentration camps. So in other words, their parents were children born in concentration camps in northern Uganda under NRA. And it was a war created and started by NRA in northern Uganda and northern eastern Uganda. I think peace and security, and ironically, strangely enough, some people in the north would say that. But that's conditioning. That's why it's very important. We should continue praying for people and to be liberated in mindset. So you find victims. Have you heard about a thing called Stockholm Syndrome? You guys Google Stockholm Syndrome and say thank Ochieno. So no, those are some of the things. So somebody in Karamoja, somebody in Teso, whose cattle were stolen, and I saw it. Somebody, as I said, in Karamoja.
They're going to be compensated.
40 years to compensate them? 40 years to compensate them? So we stole. We created insecurity. We stole some of them to northern Tanzania. Now some of them are reappearing in Acholi, and then we're going to give it to you. So thank us. So that is peace and security. No, I reject. By the way, the one thing that NRA has run with, is peace and security. Ugandans need to be prayed for to liberate their minds. NRA cannot be scored a pass over peace and security, because the first 20 years they created insecurity. Today, I don't know what security. In any case, Comrade Museveni also said, he's a gentleman actually, he's now 81, so that's the grandfather, said, look, we cut the internet, and his son, fantastic General Museveni, Mohozi, we cut off the internet because of, So after 40 years, you have to turn off the internet in order to secure peace. I know a young lady who had an exam, an international exam. Now, nobody thinks, by the way, this countryman. So people, Nyombi Tembo, your brother is, he's a good guy, and his brother is a friend of mine. How do you decide to cut off internet without discussing the economic implication, the legal implication, the health implication, the wider security implication, and even have the arrogance of not explaining it to Ugandans and say, we granted you peace? I saw one interview to British Channel 4 television where Mr. Museveni said, no, internet, we don't talk about internet, we brought it. So, Mr. Museveni, I don't know where you, sorry Museveni, I was pointing at you, I don't know where you brought this internet from, where it came from. Rajitura, I reject it. Museveni, that is absolutely not true, you didn't bring this internet.
Ochieno, I see your time is running out, but your parting shots and closing remarks, especially for the future of this country, if we are to appreciate a free and fair process, electoral process.
The last free and fair elections in this country was 1980, December, in which UPC managed to win.
The president says they were not free and fair, that is why he went to the bush.
No, this is a church television, so the way you say it like that was to say that, well, if Mr. Museveni says so, then it's biblical, is it? Okay, my friend. No, and I don't want to be harsh with Mr. Museveni today, because you know what I said of him about truth telling? Have you read about it?
Yeah, I did.
So tell the viewers. No, the last free and fair multi-party election in this country was held in 1980. You're asking me going forward. I was a first-time voter there. I just turned of age to vote. I moved around between Nagongara and including Butaleja. I never saw a policeman. On those polling booth, I went, voted, I never saw a policeman. I never had gunshots. 1980 general elections. 1980 general elections, Mr. Museveni participated in Mbarara North. He came third. His Muko Sam Kotesa won it for DP. UPC came second. Mr. Museveni came, third, close to UPC's number, but he came third. So Mr. Museveni did not go to court. He went to the bush. So that was the last elections. I want something closer to 1980 general elections, in which the Electoral Commission is independent, agreed upon by all political players. An election in which you do not so see soldiers. Soldiers, if you want, we can outsource them. We gave them to the Americans our people to go and die in Somalia. So we can give them to Bush to go and sort it out with Iran and Venezuela. By the way, I'm fundamentally opposed to both wars. So in a future election in which political parties are free to campaign across the country at any time. It's not a political election in which official opposition is blocked. This business of rallies don't take place in town centers, I think is wrong. People should have the right and freedom to campaign wherever they are, so long as police gazettes it in such a manner that they're able to keep public safety. Even if there was a rally going to take place in the Kampala City Square, and we expect, say, 5,000 Ugandans, maybe businesses, to come and can listen to young James, the candidate, and young James, the candidate, means that because it's on, say, an open afternoon, it might require a mini bit of inconvenience around City Square with 1,000 police officers to come and maintain peace and order. We pay police officers. Policing that is less than a quarter of an amount of money that members of parliament are being paid. It is absolutely shameful. It is horrifying that I see a report suggesting that everybody coming as a legislator, including people who came through the back door and through, are going to be given 315 million Uganda shillings to buy cars. Some of these are people who, okay, So no, I think after all this is settled, his obesity really should urgently be released. People like my friend Sarah Bireti, who was taken in for things related to this, should be cleared, should have their full freedom regained. Robert Chagulanyi should be able to have his freedom. And all the people who've disappeared should really be returned to the citizens of this country. And that after that, political leaders across the political divide should come together. We should have a conversation, have a national conversation, and make sure that whatever happens going forward, you younger citizens of this country are able to listen to the Ochienos and others on the basis of our programs, so that all future elections are based on issues. And we know that if they're based on issues, there are many people who would not be elected today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ochieno, and to your viewer. Well, it was an insightful interaction, and I believe that it was insightful enough to paint for us a picture of what the future should be alike. And so if you are standing up, so that we are standing up for Uganda, because at the end of the day, Uganda is for us all, and Uganda is here to stay. Therefore, in each and everything, we should front Uganda first. Thank you so much once again. Edrine Mukalazi is my name. I've fought with Emma, SC, Muhumuza, and from the entire team. We wish you a blessed day. Goodbye.
Issues at hand.